What's up? Hey guys, it's Ivan. In this video, I want to, share something with you that I learned from my experience. This one enemy that you have to success, all right? Something I learned the hard way through my experience that I just want to share with you. So the question is, what is your number one biggest obstacle and your number one biggest enemy to moving forward, okay? And like I said, that's something I went through myself. So let me just give you a few examples pertaining to online marketing. And of course, there's tons of examples, aside from that. But let me just share with you a few examples, and you can see if you can figure out what it is, and then I'll tell you. Okay? So as you know, right, we have a ton of videos on Google AdWords, Bing, Facebook ads. Now, when I first started online marketing, my biggest network was Google. It was Google Ads. It was, I thought, the best for me, right? And I'm still using it to this day. I think it's it's easier for a ton of reasons. I'll get into that maybe in another video. Why I prefer Google over Facebook. But basically, when I first started, right, I had a ton of these offers related to, um, different offers, but I was direct linking, okay? So I was, when I first started, I was direct linking to some of the sales pages. And I found a few campaigns that were really successful, really profitable. Now, what ended up happening is that those sites ended up being suspended. So I used to think when I got those successful campaigns rolling, I was thinking that, hey, everything's going perfect, everything's going well, right? I don't need to work anymore because those campaigns are going to add up, right? I'm making 50 bucks this month, but next month, right, if it's a subscription-based offer, I'm going to make 50 bucks plus 50 bucks, right? And every month it's going to grow. So I kind of relaxed and I kind of stopped doing anything else, right? I was still learning a bit, but definitely not as much. So what ended up happening is the sites ended up getting suspended, and they weren't my sites, right? It must have been because other people must have been abusing those sites and putting up ads, and so I wasn't able to direct promote anymore. So I had to learn another form of marketing, which is creating a landing page, right? So basically this traditional method, as you know now, creating a landing page, getting an email list, right? So I had to learn that because after the sites got suspended, my income went to zero. So I had to find something else to do, okay? So that's kind of one of the examples I have for you. The other example is when I moved for vacation, right? I used to rely kind of heavily on Google. On Google AdWords for my ads. And I had some good profitable campaigns. I was, everything was fine. I moved to, I traveled to the Dominican for a vacation, for a week-long vacation, and Google AdWords suspended my account, thinking that there is some, some IP problem, obviously, because I log in from here, from Canada, and then I go to Dominican, right? And so they're thinking, what's going on? Why is there, for security purposes, we're going to suspend your account. So for about a week, right, I had to sort through this and I had to, fight with them and kind of give them proof and tell them, hey, I'm actually in the Dominican, right? This is actually me, etc., etc. But for a week, I had, again, no income, right? So all this time I was thinking, hey, everything's going well. I don't need to try anything else. I don't need to do anything else. And then boom, all of a sudden, this ban hammer hits you, and you just kind of have to find another way to do things, okay? So have you figured out what your biggest enemy, your biggest obstacle is? Now, like I said, these are just a few examples, but the biggest enemy is Google AdWords, okay? Just kidding. Your biggest enemy to success that I found is comfort. So as soon as you start feeling comfortable where you are, you start thinking, hey, that's it. I don't need to do anything else. I'm comfortable where I'm at, which is what I was thinking. In those two cases, something's going to happen. Like I said, there's tons of different ways this could be seen, but somehow life has a way of punishing people that don't do anything and then don't move forward. So actually, if you're not moving forward nowadays, you're actually moving backwards, okay? So you could say, I put all my eggs in one basket, and I did, but the biggest problem here was that I just stopped doing anything. So if I would have kept on researching and kept on looking for other ways to make money, I had to learn Facebook ads because of that, right? Because of that like week-long suspension, I had to learn other ways of making money because I was freaking out. I was thinking, hey, what if I just don't get my account back? What do I do, right? And this is a simple case. I was able to get my account back, but what if you don't? What if you don't get your account back and you were sitting there kind of relaxing, doing nothing, right? You would have had lost income for a long time, especially if you rely on this, right? So point is, don't get comfortable. Always do something. As soon as you start feeling comfortable, you're not doing enough. You should be doing something, okay? And again, right, to illustrate another example, I had this interview, right, at a in Washington D.C. at a pretty prestigious company, right, um, and I thought that I would get the job because it was through a contact, right? It was one of my family's friends. It was through a contact, and they said, come in for an interview. So I was thinking, hey, I can study a bit for the interview, but other than that, people know me, people are good, right? Connections are the most important thing. So what do? I don't, I don't really train as much. And the worst thing about it is, as I was sitting there, right, just kind of slacking off, not doing anything, spending time with friends most of the time rather than working and studying. Um, I had this feeling, that's the worst thing. I had this feeling telling me that, hey, like you should be doing something. You should be practicing for the interview, right? You should be doing something. But I didn't. I was comfortable. I was saying, hey, this is fine. I don't need to do anything. So as soon as you get that feeling saying that, hey, you're fine, you don't need to do anything, that's when you know shit's gonna hit the fan and something's about to happen, okay? So this is just something I wanted to share with you that kind of, the biggest thing that really stopped me in my tracks and made me kind of push forward is the after effects of being too comfortable. When I was too comfortable, every single time something backfired, some shit happened, and I had to find a way out of it. And as a result of that, I learned something new and I did something new. But if I would have learned that beforehand, then if that, in the case of Google, if my Google account was suspended, that no problem. I would have had Facebook ads. I would have had Bing. I would have had, content blogs, SEO blog, whatever else it was that I was learning, right? So just keep in mind, you can never be comfortable. So if you're, watching me right now and saying, hey, I'm good, I'm making enough money, I don't need to do anything else in the world at all, I would rethink that stance and I would kind of look at where you are right now and try to keep doing something, every day. As long as you have that feeling in you that, hey, I could be doing more, you could be doing more. That's what I learned from experience. That's what I want to share with you so that, before something happens with you, you get to work and you start, learning and always improving yourself. Because if you don't, if something happens, you'll be stuck. Lucky for me, it was only, for a few weeks at a time. So I was able to recuperate and learn new things in that time. But sometimes it will take much longer than a few weeks for you to learn something new. So it's better to start now while everything is working. So never get comfortable, always keep moving, because remember, if you're not moving forward, you're actually moving backwards. There's no such thing as staying in place. If you're staying in place, if you're too comfortable saying, hey, everything's fine, I'm staying in place, I'm not kind of harming myself, I'm not improving myself, you're actually moving backwards. You need to always keep up to date. You need to always do something new. Otherwise, if shit hits the fan like it did with me, you'll be stuck. So that's kind of really what I wanted to share with you. Something really important that I had to go through, and I don't want anyone else to have to go through it as well. Because when you get that feeling of site suspended or account suspended or whatever happened, and that's your only income source, you really feel bad, right? I don't know if that's ever happened to you. Hopefully not, but you feel really shitty. Okay, so I was able to recoup from that, thankfully, by putting in a ton of extra hours and extra weeks of work. But hopefully that period doesn't happen with you. So thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.